How does SAP handle advance payments to suppliers? How does companies know when an invoice is due or overdue? How does SAP calculate due dates of supplier invoices? Can SAP handle installment payments? Can I start due date calculation from end of the month instead of actual receipt date of the invoice? Stay with me and know all the answers to these questions. Welcome to session number 10, Accounts Payable, part number 3, Special GL Transactions and Payment Terms. Let us move on to the next topic under supplier payments, down payments or advance payments. Down payments are called as special general ledger transactions in AP and AR modules. These down payments are displayed separately in general ledger and subledger. We have seen in the vendor line item report that we have to select a checkbox which says special general ledger transactions. These special general ledger transactions are posted to a special general ledger account, which is also known as alternative reconciliation account. These special general ledger transactions are identified by special general ledger indicators. For example, A for down payment made, F for down payment request, G for guarantees, C for security deposits. The special general ledger transactions are posted in the subledger as well as in the reconciliation account simultaneously, similar to a normal reconciliation account. Let us look at an example to understand it better. Let's look at our balance sheet, how these accounts are updated. For example, we have postings to suppliers. Supplier A, we have 10,000. Supplier B has open items of 20,000 USD. Supplier C 5,000. Supplier D 15,000. Total is 50,000. When these postings are made to the supplier accounts, these are simultaneously posted to the reconciliation account, which is payables in our case. It shows under liabilities in the balance sheet. When it comes to the special general ledger transactions, for example down payments, in this example supplier A has 1,000 as down payments, supplier B 2,000 USD, supplier C 5,000 USD, supplier D 2,000 USD, total 10,000 USD. Similar to the reconciliation account, these postings are also simultaneously made to another reconciliation account, which is known as alternative reconciliation account or special general ledger account. For example, down payments to suppliers. This is shown under assets in the balance sheet. We will have a demo later on down payments. The next topic under supply payments is noted items. Noted items are used as reminders of a financial obligation. For example, outstanding payments which are due or which are to be made. Some special general ledger transactions are also noted items, for example, down payment request. These transactions don't update account balance in the general ledger, and these are not shown in the financial statements as well. And these are also displayed separately in the subledger accounts. In the last session, we have seen transaction FBL1N and we have selected noted items, normal items, special general ledger items, etc. in the report. Let us look at the down payment configuration. The down payment configuration can be done using transaction code OBYR or FBKP. We have to create a special general ledger indicator and assign it to a special GL account. Let us switch to SAP. Let's look at both the transaction codes OBYR. You can see it displays the special GL indicators only for account type K, which is vendors. Let me go to the transaction FBKP. FBKP has a lot of other configurations, for example automatic postings, special GL, posting keys, document types, clearing procedure, fiscal year variants, and field status groups. Let us click on special GL. In this transaction, it will display all these special general ledger indicators. You can see the account type D. I have to go to next page to see the rest of the indicators. In the next page, I can see the indicators for vendors. And if you have observed, in OBYR, I did not have these many indicators. But in FBKP, I have more indicators compared to OBYR transaction code. This is the reason I normally use FBKP. It's easy for us to refer FBKP as it displays all the indicators to avoid the creation of duplicate special GL indicators. Let us double click on the first special GL indicator A, which is for down payments. Some special GL indicators are already defined in default SAP system. We can use them or we can create our own special GL indicators as needed. Normally we use A for advance payments. Let's give our chart of account, which is 8000. Enter. So for our chart of account, there is no assignment made yet. Let us go back. Special GL indicator for down payment request is F, which is standard SAP indicator. For down payment requests, we normally use F. Click on properties. F is defined as noted item, and this is for down payment request. And the target special GL indicators are A, I, M, and B. Whenever we create a down payment request and we want to convert it to a down payment, this special GL indicator for down payment request can be used to convert the down payment request to a down payment for these special GL indicators A, I, M, and B. With the same settings, system will not allow us to create a new down payment request other than F. It will end up in an error message. Let's try it. Create account type K, special GL indicator. For example, let's use J. Down payment request 1. Description, down payment request for ABC. Enter. Create, click on noted item and select down payment request. Give special GL indicator A. Give description, down payment request, reversal. Hit enter. You can see that the system displays an error message. Down payments and noted items not possible for special GL indicator. If you look at more details, it says you selected the noted items as the attribute for the special GL indicator J. This special GL account indicator is down payment or down payment request indicator. This combination is only permitted for special GL indicator F. We can create an indicator for only noted items by selecting other, removing the target special GL indicator and selecting noted items. But we cannot create an indicator similar to indicator F. Let's go back. Let's go to create again. Okay, special GL indicator J. This time I'll create a special GL indicator for down payments. Down payments ABC. Down payments for suppliers. See suppliers. Enter. Click on down payment. Under special GL transaction type, debit key will be 29 when we post the down payment, and credit will be 30 if we reverse the down payment. Give a description. Down payment, and 39 will be reverse down payment. Hit enter. Click on save. Save the transport request. Now click on accounts Enter chart of accounts A000. Here we link the reconciliation account, which is the normal reconciliation account, which we assign in the vendor master, to the special general ledger account for the special general indicator J. Our reconciliation account is payables 100501. We don't have a special general ledger account for our company code. We have to create it first. Let us open another session. FS00 10510. Create with template 100 501. Copy from company A001. Continue. This will be my advance to suppliers. Advance to suppliers account. Control data. This is a reconciliation account. I'll select vendors similar to our normal reconciliation account. This is good. Click on save. Our GL account is saved. 101000510. Double 0510 and save. Save the transport request. Changes have been made. Let us go back to our presentation. We have configured the special general ledger indicator J for down payments. Now let us move on to the next activity, post down payment to suppliers. First we'll create a down payment request using transaction code F-47, and then we'll post a down payment with reference to the down payment request we have created in transaction code F-48. F-47. But before we do that, we have to assign our special GL indicator under target special GL indicators in indicator F. P KP. So click on F, chart of accounts A000, properties, click on my special GL indicator J. Save. Now go to F-47, down payment request. Document date 16, header text, down payment request 1. Vendor account, our vendor account is 6, 4 zeros. Special GL indicator, this is the target special GL indicator I have to specify, which is J. Looks like it's giving some error message. Let us go to our configuration. Okay, under F we have not defined our reconciliation account. 100,501 100,510. Save the transport request. Now let's go back to our transaction. Hit enter amount 1000, due on, select today's date, text, down payment request 1. That's it. Save. Document was posted in company code. Let us go to FPL1N 60000. Let's select Special General Ledger transactions and normal transactions, both. Execute. We don't have our advanced request payment here. Let's go back. Since it is a noted item, it will show under noted items. This is our down payment request, which is a noted item. Execute. It's under noted items. Now let's go back and enter a down payment. The transaction code is F-48, or we can use the user menu, accounting, financial accounting, accounts payable, document entry, down payment. We have already done F-47 request. Now we'll do a down payment using F-48. Okay, enter the date. Vendor account is 60000. Special GL indicator is J. Bank account is 200, not 5. Okay, let's enter the value date as well. 16. Okay, we have not entered the amount. 1000. Click on request. Select the request. Click on create down payment. Check the line items and save. Document 19704 was posted. Now let us go to FPL1N. Select noted items and execute. There are no noted items because we have already completed the noted item, converted it from down payment request to down payment. Now it will show under Special General Ledger transactions. Execute. It's under Special GL transactions, 1000. Let's go back to our presentation. Let's move on to the next item, payment to supplier. The T code is F-53. This is a manual payment. Under payments, we will have three options: full payment, partial payment, or residual item. We have already seen the full payment in the last session. Now let's see what is a partial payment. When we do a partial payment, the open item is not cleared. Both the payment and the open item show in open items in the FBL1N report. And the residual item is also same as the partial payment. It is a partial payment, but it has a different behavior. For example, it clears the open item, but it creates another new open item for the balance amount. For example, there is an invoice of 1000 USD. I make a payment of 500 USD. The 1000 USD original invoice gets cleared and system creates another new open item as 500 USD for the balance amount. Let's switch to SAP and make a partial payment. /n F-53. Document date. Data text. Part payment. Bank account 200,105. Amount, for example, I want to pay 5,000. Value date. Today's date. Text. Part payment account 60000. Click on process open items. We have 3 open items. All are selected by default. Let me select the first item. Let me deselect the other items. So I have selected only the first invoice, which is 1980s. Now to make a partial payment, I have to make the assignment as 5,000. I don't want to assign 10,000. I want to assign only 5,000 because I want to make payment of 5,000 USD. By default, we are on the standard tab. Click on partial payment. Under payment amount, by default it's 10,000. Double click on the 10,000 amount under payment amount. It will be converted into the amount which you have entered in the previous screen. That is 5,000. Simulate the document. Check if everything is fine and save. The document 19705 was posted. Now let us go to FPL 1N. Now earlier I have told you that when we make a partial payment, both the original and the payment will show in the open items. Click on normal items, execute. Our original invoice is 10,000. It's showing on the open items, and my payment is this one using the KZ document type, which is for payment 19705, which is 5,000. Both are showing under open items. Now let us make another partial payment as a residual item. /n F-53, enter the date, header text, count 200,105, amount 5,000, value date, today's date, text, residual item, account 60000. Select process open items. Click on residual items tab. Deselect all the irrelevant items. I want to make payment for the first invoice, which is 1980s. Here I have to enter the partial amount that I want to pay. Double click under residual items, first column. It will populate the amount that we are paying. Go to more, document, simulate. You can see that in the partial payment there were only 2 line items. Here system is showing 3 line items, because system is clearing this line item and then system is creating another open line item. Okay, let us post it. Okay, looks like there's some error here. Okay, let's post it. Document 19706 was posted. Now let us go back to FPL1N. Select normal items. Click execute. The 10,000 open item is gone, you can see that. And instead we have a new open item, which is 5,000 USD. This is the new open item. The last one is the residual item which we have created. Let's go back to our presentation. Let's move on to the next topic. Terms of payment. Terms of payment are used to determine due dates and discount calculation. Let's see how terms of payment work. Earlier we have seen that we receive invoices and ultimately we have to make payments. But to make payments, there will be certain terms agreed between the business partners, our supplier and the company. Let us look at those terms. Okay, the first term is net due date, and we have 45 days. That means we agreed with the supplier that we have 45 days time to make a payment. Okay, the maximum is 45 days. Let's look at the second example, second term. For the same supplier, for the same invoice, we have another condition that if I make the payment within 30 days, I'll get 2% discount. So the actual due date is 45 days. But if I make the payment before the due date, within 30 days, I get 2% discount. This is agreed between our supplier and the company. Let us see another term. The actual due date is 45 days. If I pay within 30 days, I am getting 2% discount. And if I pay within 15 days, I can get 5% discount. So these terms are defined in the payment term. That is how the system calculates the net due date and also the discounts. Let us move on. Let us look at the maintenance of payment terms. To maintain the payment terms, we use transaction code OBB8. When we define the payment term, we use a 4-digit alphanumeric key. For example, it can be A001, A002, 3, 4 and so on. Or we can use A30, A60, A45. We can give an alphabet along with the due days. For example, A30 due in 30 days, A45 due in 45 days. Instead of A, I can use Z, Z30 due in 30 days, Z45 due in 45 days. This purely depends on the company how they want to name the payment terms. Let's switch to SAP and look at how payment terms are defined. We can use transaction code OBB8 to define the payment terms, or I can go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG, financial accounting, accounts receivable and accounts payable. Under vendor accounts, business transactions, incoming invoices and credit memos, maintain terms of payment, execute. Click on new entries. Here we can define our payment term. For example, TST1. Test payment term for ABC. So this is the sales text which we can give, and this is the day limit. We will learn more about day limit later. You have account type, it can be for customer, vendor or both. We have baseline date, fixed day, additional months, and in payment block we have block key, payment method, default for baseline date, we have no default, posting date, document date, entry date, and under payment terms we have installment payment, percentage, this is where we give the discount. We have term 1, 2, 3, we can give discounts up to 2 terms, 1 and 2, and here the number of days, discount is applicable up to how many days, and the term to discount up to how many days. We have fixed day and additional months, and at the bottom you can see this is the explanation. Whatever I enter here, system will automatically populate the explanations and we can change them. Let's give number of days as 30. So it is within 30 days due net. This is automatically populated by the system. If I want to change it, I can enter the own explanation here. For example, due within 30 days, due net. Hit enter. You can see that the explanation is changed as per the explanation I have entered. Let's go back to our presentation. Sales text and explanation. 1 line of sales text and 4 lines of, maximum 4 lines of explanations can be given in the payment term. And day limit. The day limit is the day of the month until which the corresponding payment terms are valid. For example, I can give 15. That means the payment terms are valid until 15. Or I can give 31. The payment terms entered in this payment term are valid up to 31. Let us look at an example. Let's say I have a payment term Z001. I want to create 2 segments under one payment term. That means the payment term will be 1, but I'll have 2 different conditions using day limit. For example, in the first segment, I define 15 as a day limit, and in the same payment term under second segment, I define 31 as a day limit. And the first one with the day limit 15 is due at the end of the month. For the first segment, if the invoice date is on or before 15, invoice due date will be the end of the month, that is the same month. And for the second segment, if the invoice date is before 31 and after 15th, the due date of the invoice will be end of next month. Let us look at an example. Suppose the invoice date is 10th of July, which is before 15. In this case, my payment term says due end of the month. That means 31st of July. So in this case, my due date will be 31st of July. Let us look at the next example. My invoice date is 20th July. That means it is after 15 but before 31. As for the payment term, in the second segment, it says due end of next month. That means my due date will be 31st of August, not July. So this is how we can use day limit to define multiple segments in a single payment term. We have seen the account type. The payment term can be for customer and vendor and for both. Baseline date calculation. The baseline date is a date from which terms of payment apply. Meaning the baseline date is used as a basis to calculate cash discount and due date. And under baseline date, we can fix a baseline date with additional months. For example, I can give 31 as a fixed day. The baseline date will be the end of the month. That is either 30 or 31. If I give additional months as 1, it can be end of next month. If I give 2, it will be end of next to next month after 2 months. Let's look at an example for this. I have a payment term 30 days due net. And the baseline date is 13th of August. If my payment term is 30 days due net and baseline date is 13th of August, my due date will be 12th of September. Because August is 31 days, if you calculate 30 days, it will be 12th of September. So baseline date works as a basis to calculate the due date. Let's look at another example. Payment term says 15 days, 2% discounts. If you make the payment within 15 days, we'll get 2% cash discount. And it is due in 30 days. Now my baseline date is 13th of August. If I pay within 15 days, I can get 2% cash discount. And what is my due date? Same as the previous one, 12th of September. But the difference in this payment term is, if I pay before 15 days, I get 2% cash discount. So this payment term calculate due date as well as discounts based on whatever condition is given in the payment term. Default for baseline date. We can set the default for baseline date as no default, document date, posting date, or entry date. If we set it as no default, system will not default baseline date either as document date, posting date, or entry date. There won't be any default value in the baseline date. If we choose document date, system will default document date as a baseline date. The same goes for posting date and entry date. Normally, document date is used as a default for baseline date. Let's look at an example. We have a payment terms which is due in 30 days and my document date is 13th of August and document date is the default for my baseline date. So my baseline date will also be 13th of August. What will be my due date? Again, it says 30 days, so it will be 12th of September. Block key, payment method defaults. Using the payment term, we can default a block key which is used to block an invoice for payment. We can also default a payment method using a payment term. If you maintain a block key in the payment terms and we enter the same payment term in the invoice, the block key gets populated in the invoice and the invoice gets blocked for payment. Payment terms. Earlier I have shown you we have three payment terms, 1, 2, 3. First two are with discount and the third is without discount. Let us have a demo on payment terms. Let us see how the payment terms calculate the due date and cash discount. Let us switch to SAP. Let me go back. Let's look at the first payment term, 0001. This is pay immediately without deduction, meaning without discount. Here you see there are no values. There is no day limit. It is for customer and vendor. There is no baseline date, fixed day, additional months. And here you can see the default for baseline date is document date. And there are no terms defined because this is due immediately. Now let us open another session. Go to transaction FB60. Enter the vendor. Let's give a date 15, reference, bill number 3 for example, amount 3000, GL account 400, 300, 3000. Let's click on payment tab. As I said earlier, since this payment term is assigned in the supplier master or business partner, this is getting defaulted during the transaction and we can also change it. You can see that for this payment term, default for baseline date is document date. In that baseline date you see it's 15th, and if I go back, my document date is 15th and my posting date is 16th. That means as per the payment term, system is defaulting document date as the baseline date. Since it is due immediately, you can see the baseline date and due date both are same. Let's go to the next payment term, 0002. This payment term says 14 days, 2% and 30 days net. If the payment is made within 14 days, there is 2% cash discount and it's due in 30 days. Here also there are no additional details and default for baseline date is document date. Let us go back to our transaction. and change the payment term to. Once we change the payment term, system displays a warning message, terms of payment changed. It's just a warning message. Can hit enter and continue. Now as per the payment term, it's due in 30 days and default for baseline date is document date. My document date is 15, so the baseline date is defaulted as 15 and it is due in 30 days. So if you calculate 30 days, July has 31 days, it will be 14th of next month, which is 14th of August. Let's go back to the next payment term, 0003. This payment term has 3 terms. If we pay within 14 days, 3% cash discount. Within 20 days, 2% cash discount. And this is due in 30 days. And the change here is the default for baseline date is posting date, not document date. Let's change the payment term to 3. Hit enter. Look at the baseline date. It has changed. Earlier it was 15. Now it is 16, which is my posting date. And since the baseline date has changed from 15 to 16, my due date also got changed from 14 to 15. This is due in 30 days. Let's go to the next payment term. Number 4, as of end of month. For this, the baseline date setting is fixed day 31. That is end of the month. And default for baseline date is same as the previous one, posting date. Let us change it here. Number 4. Hit enter. Now, even though I have selected default for baseline date as posting date, but in the baseline date calculation, I have given fixed day as 31. That is the reason my baseline date is end of the month, which is 31st of July. Since it is due immediately, the due date is same as baseline date. Let's go to the next payment term, 0005. Here we are adding additional months. The fixed day is 10th and then we are adding additional month to it. That means baseline date will be 10th of next month. Let's check that. Change it to 5. Enter. My baseline date is no default. Since I have given a fixed day 10th of next month, this is July, so the baseline date is 10th of August. And since this is due immediately, it is due on the same day as baseline date. Let's go to the next payment term, 0006. Here I am using the fixed day and additional months in terms in the payment under the payment terms. The first term is 4% discount. Fixed day is 31. And second term is 2% discount. Fixed day is 15 plus 1 additional month. And net due date is 15th of additional 2 months. Let's see how this works. What is my baseline date? I don't have any setting in the baseline date. It is no default. What is my due date? As per the term, 15th of next to next month, which is August, September. So my due date is 15 October as per the payment term. Let us go to the next term, 0007. Here I have two terms, and the default for baseline date is posting date, and I have day limit 15. That means I will have two segments for this payment term. This is first segment with day limit 15, and if I click on next entry, same payment term, another segment with day limit 31 with different terms. Here we have 2%, 31, 1. Here we have 2%, 15, 1. So under the same payment, we have two different segments using day limit. Let's see how this works. $15. Or I can make it 14. Let's make it 13. $3,000. Payment term is 0007. Let's look at it now. My posting date is 14th of July. I'm using payment terms 0007. As per the first segment, day limit is 15, and my posting date and invoice date is before 15. My baseline date is defaulting from the posting date as per the setting, and since my baseline date is before 15, my due date is end of next month. As per this segment, my due date is end of additional month. That means next month, not this month. So this is July, this is end of August. Now let me change the posting date. I'll make it 16, posting date 16. Change the payment term. Earlier it was 31st of August. Now you can see it has got changed from 31st August to 15th of September. Let's go to the next segment. Since the baseline date is falling after 15 and before 31, the due date is calculated as per this segment. 15th of additional 2 months, that is August, September. Let's go to the next payment term, which is 8. It also has two segments, 15 and 31. Let's see what is the difference. So my posting date is after 15, so it is falling here. Here I am giving fixed day for baseline date 15. Earlier it was blank in payment term 0007. Now here I am giving fixed day 15 for baseline date. It's 15th August. Why it is August, not July? Because I have given additional month as 1. So it's adding plus 1 to the months. 15th of August. Now what is my due date? 45 days. So if you calculate 45 days from 15th of August, it is 29th of September. Let's go to the next payment term, 0009. This is payable in 3 installments. This is installment payment. We'll see it later when we discuss installment payments. The next topic under supply payments is installment payments. The T code is OBB8, which is maintain payment terms, and OBB9, define installment payments. Now what is installment payments? these are breakdown into partial payments, and each payment or each item can have different due dates. For example, I have an invoice of 10,000 USD, and as per the payment terms, I have to pay it in 3 installments. The first installment is due immediately, for example, and the second installment is due in 30 days, and the third installment is due in 45 days. And the amounts that I am going to pay for all these 3 installments is 30%, 40% and 30%, which is. Let's look at an example of how this works. I have a payment term IP01, and this payment is assigned to 3 installment payments: IP000, IP30, IP60. And the first payment term IP30 is for 30%, and IP30 is 40%, IP60 is again 30%. That means it will break down the invoice into 3 parts: 30, 40 and 30 percentile. Let's say, for example, we have an invoice with 10,000 USD, and in the invoice I apply the payment term IP01. When I post this invoice, system is going to post not one invoice but 3 different invoices with 3 different payment terms. The first one will be due immediately, which is as per the payment term IP00. The document number 1 will have 30% of the invoice amount, which is 3,000. The second invoice or the second document will be due in 30 days as per the payment term, and the amount in this invoice is 4,000, which is 40% of the invoice. And the third and the last invoice or the document 3, is for 3,000 again, which is 30% of 10,000 USD, and this is due within 60 days as per the payment term, which is the installment payment number 3. Let us look at the installment payment, how this is created. Let us post an invoice with installment payment term. Let us switch to SAP. The installment payment term is 0009. This is a default payment term in SAP. This has 3 installments. Installment 1 is 30%. Installment 2 is 40%. Installment 3 is again 30%. And here installment payments is selected. In this payment term, we just select the installment payment. We don't define any terms. Now we have to go to another transaction /n OBB9 to assign this payment term to the installment payment terms. My first installment is 30%. The payment term is NT00. Second installment is 40%, which is NT30. My third installment is 30%, and I have assigned payment term 60. I need to create these payment terms in advance before I come here and assign to the main payment term 0009. That means if I have to create 3 installment payment terms, I have to create 4 payment terms. One main payment term where I select installment payment option, and 3 installment payment terms for the 3 installments. Let us select the invoice payment term 0009. Let's change the amount 10,000. Go to document and simulate. When I go to simulate, you can see that the expenses account is 10,000, and I have 3 vendor items: 3,000, 4,000 and 3,000, 30%, 40% and 30%. Let us save. The document 19707 was posted. Let us go to FPL 1N execute. I have 3 different invoices. Let us look at the due date. Let us go to change layout. And search for due date. Okay. Let me copy the due date. After document number, adopt. Due date of my first invoice of 3000 is 15th of July, which is immediately. I have posted it on. My document date is 15th and my net due date is also 15. The next one was NT30, which was due in 30 days. My document date is 15/7 and my due date is 14/8, meaning after 30 days. And my third payment term is due in 60 days. That means it is 13th of September because my July and August are 31 days. So it's 13th of September. Let's go back to our presentation. So this is how the installment payments work in SAP. Let's move on to the next topic under supplier payments, block keys. To define block keys, we can use transaction code OB27. Block keys are also called as payment block reasons. These are used to block invoices for payments. Let's look at an example. Let's say I have a payment term Z001 and under this payment term I have defaulted block key A and I am posting an invoice and I am giving Z001 in the invoice payment term field. When I make the payment, system will say I cannot make the payment. Reason being the invoice has a block key A, which is block for payment. Let us go to transaction OB27 and look at the block key settings. The configuration settings of block keys include change in payment proposal, manual payment block, and not changeable. Let's switch to SAP. Let's go to OB27. OB27. I can use transaction code OB27 or I can use SPRO. SAP reference IMG, financial accounting, accounts receivable and accounts payable. Under accounts receivable and accounts payable, business transactions, outgoing payments, outgoing payment global settings, payment block reasons, define payment block reasons. We can define a block key and give a description. We have 3 different settings under block keys. Change in payment proposal. This means when we do automatic payment program run and we create a proposal, if a particular block key is used, for example A, which is change in payment proposal, this payment block we can remove during the proposal run. We can change it. And the second option is manual payment block, meaning if I select this checkbox, I cannot make manual payments if I have a block indicator B. And the third one is not changeable. This is used in workflow processes. Let's go back to PowerPoint. This is the end of the session. Thank you.